Hello guys, welcome to this video. So in this video we're going to see how to host two Docker images in our cluster. So in previous video we have seen how to host a single Docker image in your ECS Fargate cluster. So in this session we are going to see how to host two microservices. So after that we can see a drawback of our current procedure, and also we can see how to resolve it. So this is our cluster, and inside our cluster I have already hosted one microservice. So it's in running state. So let's go to our load balancer. So I have already incorporated my load balancer to our microservice. So let's copy this DNS name. So in previous video also we have given the same path as my service -1. So this is the response of our first microservice. So now let's go to our task definition and create a new task definition for our second microservice. So click on create new task definition and click on forget, click on next. So we can give a task name as my task 1, and we can select the task role and task memory. So here we need to add our container. So in our ECR container we have our both service images. So this is our second service image. So let's copy this URI, and container name is my repo, and here we need to give the content port. So in our first microservice runs on port 2173. So for our second microservice I have configured 2174. So let's give the same here and click on add. So click on create. So we have successfully created our second microservice task definition. So let's go to our cluster and create a second service. So here we need to select the launch type as Fargate, and here we need to select the task definition as my task 1. So this is our task definition for our second microservice, and here we need to specify a service name, and here we need to give the number of tasks as 1, and minimum healthy percentage as 0, and maximum as 100. And you need to click on next step, and here we need to select our cluster VPC. So our ALB and our first microservice runs on the default VPC, which is our AWS VPC. So for our second microservice also we are going to select the same here, and in subnet we are going to select the 3 regions, and we are going to create a new security group with custom TCP and port number 2174. So here we need to give a source group as our ALB source group. So let's go to our ALB. So the security group is 042E. So let's see here. So here we have the thing. So click on save. So here we need to select our application load balancer, and here we need to add to load balancer. So and we need to select the load balancer port number, and here we need to select the target group name. So here we can give a target name as my service to TG, and the path pattern for our second microservice also is my service 1, but but it is saying some error like path pattern is already in use. So let's give as my service 2. After creation of the service we can update as my service -1, and we need to give the evaluation order as 2, since we have already evaluation order as 1. So here we need to give the number as 2, and we need to specify the health check path. So the health check path is my service -1. So here we can see here. So let's copy this and click on next. Let's click on create. So our second microservice has been successfully created, and it has been hosted. So let's go to our load balancer and click on listeners, and here we need to click on view or edit rules. So if you see the view or edit rules means we have some set of listeners which you have given already. So let's change this as my service -1, So now we have hosted our both Docker images. So let's go to our ALB response. So in this we are getting always our first microservice response. So if you want to get our second microservice response, we need to reorder our listeners. So let's go to this section, and this is our second microservice order. This is our first microservice order. So let's click on this and click on the top button. So now our order has been changed. So we can save it here. So now our first microservice is in second order. So and our second microservice in first order. So if you go to our ALB and if you refresh means, we can see our second microservice response. So but now we got our second microservice response, but now we are not getting our first microservice response. So this is a drawback of this procedure. So and to resolve it, we need a proxy path to our microservice, or moreover a proxy microservice using our NGINX. So let's do this. So before getting into this, let's make our IP as anywhere, so that we can access our service using our IP itself. Since we have blocked this public IP, so we need to remove this security group. So let's go to our EC2 dashboard under in this select security group. So here we have our first microservice and second microservice security group. So let's click on this, and we need to click on edit inbound rules. So here we have mentioned our ALB security group. Now we have to delete this one because the ALB request only accepts to our microservice, but through IP also we need to access now. So now click on add rule and click on alt TCP, or else we can click on custom TCP with port number 2173, and we can select as anywhere. So we can delete this one and click on save rules. So our first microservice security group has been updated. So now let's go to our first microservice. This is the first microservice, and let's go to the task. Now if we copy paste this IP with our port number means our response will be showing here. So the port number is 2173 path my service -1. So now we can see our first microservice response. So now let's do the same for our second microservice. So this is our second microservice security group. So let's click on edit inbound rules and click on add rule. Here we need to specify the port number as 2174 with anywhere source, and we need to delete this one. Click on save. So let's go to our second microservice. Let's copy this IP and can replace this one with port number 2174. So now we have the response of our second microservice also. Now let's host our NGINX service. So this is our NGINX project, and in this we have some default.config file. So this config file is nothing but the request received with service 1 will be replaced that service 1, and rest of the path will be forwarded to our given IP address. So we need to copy our first microservice IP address, which is our 3.108.6.227. So let's paste it here. And for our second microservice, we have some other IP. So let's go to a task and click on this one. So here we have a second IP. Okay, this is a second IP address, second service IP address. So let's copy this one and paste it here. So now we have given our both microservice IP address. So let's save this one, and here we have our Docker file. So the first line is pulling our NGINX image from a Docker hub, and it is copying our default.config file to the etc path. So under this path, our default config file will be pasted. So now let's build this image. So okay, let's go to our ECR repo. Let's click on the view push commands. Let's copy the first command. So login is will be succeeded, and here we need to build our image. So let's type our image command as docker build dot hyphen t. Here we need to specify our ECR name. So our ECR name is my repo, and we can tag the image name as NGINX. So now our image is building. So let's wait for a while. So now our image has been successfully built. Let's view this image, Docker images. So here we have our Docker image. So let's push this image, Docker push. Then we need to copy this one. With the tag as NGINX. So now our image has been pushed now. So let's go to our ECR repo. So now let's refresh. So here we have our NGINX image. So let's copy this one. So we need to create another service called NGINX service. So let's go to our cluster. So let's create on this. So let's select launch type as target. So we need to create a task definition also. So let's cancel this and go to a task definition. So here we need to select target, and we can name our task name definition name as NGINX with task role as ECS task role, and rest are all same guys. So no need any changes. So let's give the container name with my repo, and image name as image URI is our NGINX image, and let's copy here. So here we need to specify the container port. So our NGINX runs on port number 80. So let's give the port number as 80 and click on add. So we have created our task definition. Let's go to our cluster and create another service for our NGINX. So here we need to select the task definition as NGINX. Here we need to select give a service name as NGINX service with task as now 1, and then we can click on next step, and here we need to specify our cluster VPC. So here also we are going to select the same default VPC with 3 subnet regions. Here we need to create a new security group. So let's give as NGINX SG with HTTP port number 80 is same. So let's give it as so here we can assign our ALB. So let's just select source group, and here we need to give our ALB source group. So let's verify once. So here we have a 042. So let's copy this one and click on add application load balancer. We don't need any path pattern for this one, so let's go with our default target group for our ALB. So we don't need any path pattern or health check path for our NGINX service. So click on next. So our NGINX service has been created. So let's view this one. So it is in provisioning state, so let's wait for a while. So now it's in running status. Let's go to our ALB and need to copy our ALB path. So let's paste it here. And the thing is, in our Nginx service, we have given the path as, so it is first microservice path should be start with service one. So let's copy this one, and after that we can give our microservice path. So that is nothing but our like my service -1. So let's copy this one. So we can see our first microservice response, and to view a second microservice response, we no need to change the listener order. So directly we can rename this service one as service two, and click on enter. So now we have seen the both service respond without changing our ALB listener orders. So this is a post or application like when you have a multiple service and we have the same path pattern for our both microservice. Then we need to use our NGINX service as a proxy server. So then we can use the path name which we have specified, and we can differentiate the service with the specified path. So that's it, guys. You can try on your own by creating two microservices, and you can post your. After that, we can create our Nginx service, and you can see the multiple service response in the same ELB URL. So thank you, guys. I hope you have learned a lot. So in upcoming videos, we can see how to create a CI/CD setup. So thank you, guys. We can see you in next video.